While the forecast points upward, we must consider the inherent conflicts of interest when analyzing these large institutional movements in the Bitcoin space.
You know, in the crypto world, things move so fast. A confident prediction pops up, and it feels like a golden ticket. But how do you tell a real signal from, well, just noise? Today, we're going to sharpen your BS detector. We're taking a real-world crypto prediction and tearing it down, piece by piece, to see exactly what makes it tick and why it fell apart. So, here it is. This is the prediction that got our attention. It was published on November 7th, and it claims Bitcoin will trade somewhere between $106,000 and $115,000. That's super specific, right? That kind of precision makes it feel, well, it feels really certain, like a guarantee. But as we're about to find out, being precise and being accurate are two very different things. And that's the real question, isn't it? Because in crypto, you don't have to wait months for a verdict. The market gives you its opinion almost instantly. So let's just jump forward 48 hours and see what actually happened. All right, so here's our game plan for this deep dive. First, we'll look at the bold prediction itself. Then, we'll slam it right up against reality. After that, we dig into the shaky evidence it was built on, this thing called the unreliable omen. That's going to lead us straight to a hidden conflict of interest. From there, we'll give our final verdict, and then, the best part, we'll equip you with your own crypto fact-check kit so you can spot this stuff out in the wild. Okay, let's start at the beginning. The claim. This whole case study comes from an article by a guy named Martin Stransky, published on a Czech financial news site Kurzy.cz. And this wasn't just some off-the-cuff tweet. It was a formal piece of analysis aimed at serious, active investors. And now, the moment of truth. A prediction is only as good as what happens next. So how did this super confident forecast actually do when it met the real world? Let's check the tape just 2 days later. And yikes. This is where the story completely falls apart, right away. The prediction said the floor, the absolute minimum, would be $106,000. But look at the reality. By November 9th, the price was already down under $102,000. So the prediction wasn't just a little off, it was fundamentally broken from the second it was published. Let that sink in. The price dropped almost 4% below the predicted minimum range in just 2 days. This isn't a small miss. This is our first massive red flag. The forecast didn't just fail, it failed spectacularly and immediately. So you have to wonder, right? If a prediction fails that quickly and that badly, what in the world was it based on in the first place? Let's peel back another layer and look at the evidence the author used to back up his claim. He pointed to something called the Hindenburg Omen. I know, it sounds super dramatic, and that's the point. It's a technical indicator that's supposed to be a major warning sign, a predictor of a market crash. It looks for some weird specific conditions that suggest the market's foundation is cracking. But here's where it gets really weird. He took this market crash indicator and didn't predict a crash. Instead, he spun it completely. He argued it was just signaling a small dip, which would then be followed by a calming period where his super high price prediction would come true. He basically looked at a fire alarm and said, see, this means the building is about to get nice and cozy. But, and this is a huge but, here is the single most important fact about the Hindenburg Omen, the one thing that was completely, totally left out of the article. Historically, 75 to 80% of its signals are false alarms. It's famous for being unreliable. To use this as your main piece of evidence without mentioning its massive failure rate, well, that's not analysis, that's cherry-picking data. So the prediction failed, and the evidence it was based on is flimsy at best. But the story isn't over. To really get what's going on here, we have to ask a totally different question. Who is the analyst, and what's his motivation? The author is Martin Stransky. He's presented as just an analyst. But with a little digging, you find out his main gig. He's a founder and CEO. A CEO of what, exactly? He's the CEO of a company called Bit.plus. And listen, this is no small-time operation. It's the largest crypto services operator in Czechia and Slovakia. We're talking 440 branches with a turnover of 1.5 billion Czech koruna. This is a huge player in that crypto market. And what does Bit.plus do for a living? They sell Bitcoin and other cryptos. And this right here is the key. His company makes money when crypto prices go up, and it really makes money when lots of people get excited and start trading. So an optimistic prediction that gets people to buy, that's not just an opinion. It's great for his bottom line. So now we get to the real question, don't we? When the CEO of a company that literally sells Bitcoin writes an article telling everyone that Bitcoin's price is about to go way up, is he giving you objective financial analysis? Or is he writing a really, really clever advertisement designed to get you to buy his product? The conflict of interest here is just massive, and it was never disclosed.
Okay, let's put it all together. We've looked at the prediction, the flimsy evidence, and the author's hidden agenda. It's time to bring it all home and deliver our final verdict on this so-called analysis.
On transparency, it's a hard fail. Not mentioning you run a huge company that profits from your own prediction is a huge problem. On context, also a fail. Leaving out the fact that your star piece of evidence is wrong 80% of the time? Come on. And all of that leads to objectivity, which is questionable at the very, very best. Funny how the analysis just happens to be the perfect sales pitch for the author's business. Now for the most important part. Tearing down one bad analysis is interesting, but what really matters is how you can protect yourself from the next one. So here are 3 simple, powerful questions you need to ask every single time. First, always check the author. Who are they? Follow the money. Do they get paid if you follow their advice? Second, check the evidence. Don't just accept it, kick the tires. Are they leaving out the inconvenient parts, like, say, an 80% failure rate? And third, check their track record. Is this person actually good at predicting things, or are they just good at sounding confident? This little checklist will save you a world of trouble. In the end, it all comes down to this one simple question. Is the article you're reading, the video you're watching, is it designed to give you a clear, honest picture of reality, or is it designed to influence what you do for their benefit? Learning how to tell the difference is probably the most valuable skill you can have as an investor.